Well, welcome everyone. I'm John Antaramian, Mayor of the City of Kenosha, for those of you who don't know me. We're here today to announce a remarkable project. It's the announcement of the Kenosha Fiber City project, which is a partnership between SiFi Networks to build the first fiber network in Wisconsin and the first open access network in Wisconsin. All right? Now, I did all that, I read that part of it to you because I don't normally read any of this stuff. But I wanted to make sure I got that piece right. Kenosha has a remarkable opportunity with what's going on. This project will definitely move Kenosha to the next phase of development, to the next phase of education. It has the opportunity to change our community dramatically. And I want to thank SiFi for having chosen Kenosha to do this project so that taxpayers understand this is 100% covered by them. There's no taxpayer dollars in this project. This definitely is going to be a boon to the educational process in the community because it will give access to the fiber access to every household in the community and every business in the community up to 10 gigs, which is remarkable when you think of that, and has the ability to expand beyond that in the future as the ability to expand will occur. This will enable this community to grow and prosper. It'll make us the beginning, a focal point for smart growth and smart communities within the country. And we literally are the first one in Wisconsin, so that is remarkable. Now, I was asked not just to say welcome to everyone and then turn it over to other individuals, but I was asked because of my technical abilities to start to explain all this to you, and can happen. So with that, I am going to turn this over though to Ed St. Peter, who is the project manager who helped guide this project all along. So Ed, please.
All right, I guess I'm doing two things here. Ed St. Peter, project manager for the city. Good morning, Kenosha, and good morning, Lincoln Park neighborhood. Yeah, Kathy. We couldn't be happier, as the mayor said, to be teaming up with SiFi Networks. And Kenosha Fiber City, which is their trademark, is really going to be life-changing. And what a great place for this special announcement to be made. I grew up in Lincoln Park neighborhood. 73rd Street, two different houses, 70th Street, one house. So more than half of my life was in this community, an older community, and the opportunity for this neighborhood and other neighborhoods in Kenosha is just remarkable. Imagine if your electricity just went out for, a few minutes every day, or even worse, you had brownouts like they have in some other states way west of here. It would be devastating, but that's what we have. That's what I have, at least, with my internet service. Occasionally it goes out, and I'm sure that's true for all of us in all of the neighborhoods. That's going to change. Fiber City will be here, will be installed, will be available to everyone, and it will be flawless, and even more importantly, it will be lightning speed. And I don't have lightning speed right now, but we're going to have it at a cost that is going to be very, very competitive from what we've been told. Yeah. So it's going to be great for our residences, great for our existing businesses, our educational institutions, and it will be a major incentive, which is really important for future businesses, schools, entrepreneurs, and also great for city government as we have smart services and internet services for city government operations. The city has teamed up with Fiber City, Kenosha Fiber City. Together, we're going to build an amazing project. So that was kind of mine, but I'm going to give a little bit of what the mayor thought I should probably say. It's a $100 million project. $100 million that SiFi is financing it all for the city of Kenosha. Obviously, their goal is to make some money. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that's not my problem. That's theirs. But for us, the residents of the city of Kenosha, every single house is going to have fiber running in front of their house. They're going to have an opportunity to hook up to that fiber and have speeds, as the mayor said, 1 gig, 10 gig. If equipment is able to do it, 100 gig. And I was trying to explain to my wife what that's like. I said, it's like someone's riding a bicycle and the guy next to him is in a Ferrari. And that's what we're going to have. Right now we're riding bicycles, but pretty soon we're going to have Ferraris. Construction has already begun. They put in SiFi Networks put in 2,000 feet of fiber just yesterday and every day. And that will be building as they add more crews. I ran the water utility for 50 years. We never put in 2,000 feet of water main. Right, Kurt? We were lucky if we could get 200 feet. So that's a piece of equipment that they're using that trenches the fiber, and they put in 2,000 feet yesterday. So the anticipated complete build out for the entire city, every single parcel, is 3 years. So as in 3 years, everyone will have the ability to hook up to this super speed broadband. I think that was most of it. Yeah, so thank you for that. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Marcus Bowman, who is Community Relations Specialist for SiFi Networks. Marcus?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Kenosha. There we go. Let's get some energy. I know it's chill out here. We have some coffee. We have some donuts. I just wanted to like he said, my name is Marcus Bowman. I'm Community Relations Manager with SiFi Networks. Echoing a lot of what's already been said this morning, we are very excited to be here today with the mayor, other city leaders, and to have Kenosha as the very first fiber city in Wisconsin. It's already been stated that this is a project that is at no cost to the taxpayer, and that this is closing the digital divide, which is something that really stands close to myself. I'm not originally from Kenosha, born and raised right up the street over there in Racine. And thus ends, no. Go, listen, we'll be second on board. But when I talk about closing the digital divide, that's something that plays very close to my heart, right? As someone who spent some years in teaching. When I explain this project out in the community, I always say it's about two things to simplify it to people. I said it's about equity and it's about competition, really. The equity portion of it is really going throughout the city. So as the mayor and Ed stated, this is going to be going throughout the public streets. You're going to have fiber going in front of every household. So if you can remember when we were quarantined and at home, when you had mom and dad and kids all trying to jump on board. Someone wanted to play Halo and someone wanted to run a business and someone wanted to watch Netflix, and you could see how that was taxing on the bandwidth throughout the household. All that changes when you get fiber running throughout the city. That changes when you get it running from the north side to the south side to the east to the west. No matter where you are, there's no neighborhood, whether it be Lincoln or any other part of Kenosha, that's going to be left behind. That's the equity portion of it that's so important. The competition is because it's an open fiber optic network, which means that we're going to bring on an ISP that's going to be competitive as far as prices, as far as product, but also we can add on ISPs in the future, right? You can go from a gig to 2 to 3 gigs. This is something that's considered future-proof, which is really important, right? Once you get that trench and you get that fiber in the ground, it means you're only cutting once. You don't have to come back and do it again. So like I said, and I explained in the community, it's about the equity, it's about the competition. And again, we can all agree the competition and making things more affordable is good for everyone, correct? Amen. Listen, now I know I'm back in Wisconsin. Again, just echoing some points that were already stated. It's already been said it's a $100 million project, private investment in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Listen, if you're interested in learning more about the Fiber City project, you should really just jump onto KenoshaFiberCity.com. I'll say that again, KenoshaFiberCity.com. Fill out the form. It's a little more complex if you live in an HOA or a private community. So it's important to get on board and get that filled out because there's a few extra steps to get the project going through your neighborhood and area. So speak to us rather sooner than later. Renters, people always ask in the community, hey, what if I'm renting and I don't own the home? It just means that you need to speak to your landlord and have them reach out on the Kenosha Fiber City Network .com as well. Well, listen, I'll wrap it up. Again, proud to be here in Wisconsin and Kenosha to have this to be the very first city to expand the competition in the broadband network. And with that, I'm going to ask that Mayor and Ed and a few other SiFi people step up here. We're going to open it up for Q&A from anyone from the public or media. People look surprised as far as going to stand up here and take all the questions on my own. That was not going to happen. Perfect. Gentleman right there in the sharp black blazer.
I've got questions. So my name is Zach. I represent this area on the county board. I'm excited to see that the work is happening right here in the 8th district. What made, whether it be Fiber City or the city of Kenosha, decide to start here in Lincoln Park?
Well, there's some huts that will be installed. There's two. They're major facilities where everything will flow through. One of them is near where the Brown Bank used to be, which is city owned now. That's where one is going, and the other is going out by the transit facility. This area will tie obviously closely to that. So this neighborhood and all the neighborhoods, Chrysler, Columbus, all of those are kind of in this first push. So from here through that hut to the Kenosha Transit Center is what gets installed first, and then everything builds out around that. So the full build out will be 3 years. They're installing fiber right now. The huts, the plan at this point is to get the foundation, the electric in on the huts still this year, before the end of this year. The huts will be built in the spring, maybe into the summer of next year. Then wherever there is fiber in front of a house, once it's connected between the two huts, wherever fiber has been installed in front of a house, they will have the opportunity to connect. So by fall of next year, people will be online using, there'll be internet service provider, 1, 2, 5, whatever, however many there are, those will come to your house. So it won't be SiFi coming to your house. A service provider will come to your house and say, are you interested? Here's what it would cost. You know, what do you have right now? We all know what we have. There's only 2 options right now. And service provider will say, here's what we're offering you. 1 gig or faster, but 1 gig. So we're talking about the Ferrari versus the bicycle. And here's our cost. And we believe the cost will not be higher than what you're currently paying. And I'm hoping even lower, but we'll see when we get there, when the service providers come on board. But to answer your question, a year from now, there will be people using the internet. 3 years from now, everyone who wants it will have that availability. Well, I can answer that too. It's really very minimal. There's a unit right there. That's what they cut. So it's either in the parkway behind the curb where they trench that and put in the fiber, or it's in the pan. I should have Brian come up here and tell it. Or it's in the pan where the curb and gutter is, between that and the street. They'll be cutting it there and putting in the fiber, and that will be it. The fiber's only down 12 to 18 inches. So it's not an issue like for water. That was a real concern I had. Are they going to be cutting through water lines? All of this is very shallow, and the construction process is not disruptive. In fact, I've talked to the guys that were installing, and they said the people are very happy. They've already got grass growing where they first started. So it's amazing how quickly this is done. And when they do 2,000 feet in a day, they're not in front of your house very long. This thing is just flying along, cutting through, and it's only as wide as that blade. That's all they're cutting down into the ground, laying the fiber, putting dirt back on top, putting grass seed on top of that, and they're ready to go. Pardon me? Right, they will pay. I don't know exactly how all that works, but yeah, the service providers will pay SiFi for the opportunity to use their fiber. It's whoever's.
Just restate the question one more time. Yeah, as far as Exactly. I don't believe that we're exclusive to any particular ISP at this point, or excluding any ISP at this point. So yeah, if the ISP wanted to come on board, correct, they would be able to. No, I don't. Again, representing the builder, I can't really dictate the price for the ISP, but yeah, it should be competitive, of course. I just want to go back and echo some of the things that Ed stated earlier, which is, yeah, of course, design and connection points really dictates where you start in the city and how it flows out. And also, there was a question in terms of the duration of the project, even though it's predicted to take 3 years. The first customer receiving fiber, of course, would not have to wait 3 years. As it rolls up and becomes live, it will kind of roll out in the city ahead of 3 years.
Question for you, Marcus, SiFi standpoint. Do you anticipate that whoever your ISP provider will be, or providers will offer a discounted package or federal funding supplemented offering for people who are lower income that may not be able to go to a fiber cost basis?
Yeah, I believe that is something that will be done. I can't speak too in depth on that. I don't have all that information, but I can follow up with you and give you more information on that. But yeah, there is something in the works to offset the cost for those who may need it. Any other questions? If not, then it said, how many 4K shows can I stream simultaneously with 1 gigabyte, correct? You know what? Can I get back to you on that? I don't know that off the top of my head, but that's a wonderful thing to know for those who have 4 televisions in the household. Everybody, yeah. Perfect. No, they were itching. Yeah.
What about the trees? How does the machine affect the trees? A lot of our trees are on the easement, which is the area you described where it will go through. How will it affect the roots of the trees?
Gotcha. Is anyone willing? I mean, I can explain it, but I believe it technical. They do have a process to go beneath and navigate around the roots of the trees.
So for everybody that don't know me, I'm always underground. I'm David Paul with Always Underground. I'm a construction partner with SiFi. We're the ones that are actually out here building the network. What was that question again?
What about the trees?
How does it affect trees?
And the roots of the trees?
We're using a hydrovac system, which is right here, or we're directional boring underneath the trees. No. DAVID PAULIN. Any other construction questions I can answer? Quick as soon as possible.
So yeah, the preservation of, I guess, the aesthetics of your home, of the lawn, the right of way, all that is very important to the process, which is why when we're trenching in that green space, the reinstatement takes place the way it does. I believe Ed mentioned if you go and look at the area that's already been trenched, the process of reinstating the grass is already quickly taking place, and you have beautiful grass already sprouting up.
64th Street between 20th and 22nd, down to 65th. You guys can take a look. You'll see grass. We placed that grass mat on 64th Street 8 days ago, and it's already grown grass. So yeah, we're taking great care of that lawn as best we can.
If there's no more questions, I'll echo it again. KenoshaFiberCity.com. Definitely go on to the website, look us up. If you'd like some personal contacts, we'll give our card. You can reach out to me. Again, I do community relations in the area. Thank you all for coming out this morning and for joining us. A round of applause for the mayor, for Ed, for Always Underground, for the other representatives of SiFi Networks. We thank you for the opportunity to be here with you, and go Kenosha.
Okay, here we are at Lincoln Park in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I'm with your name.
Ed St. Peter.
And Ed, what's your role here today?
I'm project manager for the city of Kenosha.
And maybe we could talk about, so there's let's hear about the latest project with this company.
SiFi Networks is a internet provider. Well, actually, they're a fiber provider. They're teaming with the city of Kenosha to install fiber to every single property in the city of Kenosha.
So what does that mean to the household?
Well, right now they've got either AT&T or Spectrum. Most of that is not fiber, so now they will have the opportunity to connect to fiber, and we're hoping at a cost probably similar to what they have now, but at speeds that are exponentially faster than they currently have, up to a gig, actually potentially up to 10 or even higher, 10 gig. Yeah, it's amazing speed. As I mentioned in my discussion, it's like somebody on a bicycle currently versus a Ferrari next to them, and the new system will be a Ferrari for sure.
Close to 3 years for the completion of it.
Right. The construction started a couple weeks ago. Yesterday they installed 2,000 feet, so the construction process is speeding up. They install fiber. They'll be doing that for the next 3 years, but they have 2 huts that have to be built on 2 different parts of the city, and then they pick up the internet, the high-speed internet, connect to those 2 huts. Once that's connected, any of the homes that have fiber in front of them can hook up at that time. And the anticipation is in less than a year from now, people will be able to start hooking up. If it's in front of their house, the huts will be connected, fiber will be installed, service providers will come up to your house if that's where you live. They'll knock on your door and say, are you interested? Here's our plans. There might be multiple people coming to your doors saying, here's our plan, here's another company with another plan, comparing their rates, comparing to what they're offering, and then it's up to the resident to determine if they want to hook up or not.
So then SiFi, once again, SiFi puts the fiber in, and then like the other companies like Spectrum or AT&T or whoever can come in and tap into that line.
Exactly. They pay SiFi for use of their fiber. So SiFi owns the fiber in connection with the city, but they own the fiber, and then the service provider rents the fiber from SiFi. That's how SiFi gets paid, and then the service provider gets paid from the customer.
Got it. Well, this is a great thing for Kenosha.
It's really exciting.
Wow.
First in the state. We're the first ones in the state, almost the first in the whole Midwest, really, that have high-speed broadband. And when I say high speed, we're talking a gig up to 10 gig available to every single person.
I think in the press release it says, will improve buffering and other types of things.
Right. One of the questions that was asked here in this interview was, how many 4K movies could you watch? And the response, not from me, but the response from SiFi was, as many TVs as you have in your house. They said a Netflix movie uses 5 meg. We're talking about 1 gig. So that's 1,000 meg. So that's how many, divide that by 5, that's at least 200 TVs in your home can all go at one time. So it's just amazing, the speed.
And when you got involved, from when they came and approached the city to now, how long did that take?
That's a really interesting question, and I don't know how much time you want to spend. I've worked for the city for 51 years, so I've done hundreds, if not 1,000 contracts and agreements. This agreement with SiFi Networks, I will say, was in the top 10 of cooperation, teamwork, speed. They contacted the city because they were looking to get into the Midwest. So they were in California, they were on the East Coast, and their business model said, we want to be in the Midwest. So they went online looking to see what in their size cities, looks like 100 to 150,000 people. That's what they're looking for. That's their niche. They were looking for communities that were doing smart city kind of stuff. Well, I was in charge of this project for downtown. We're looking at reinventing downtown, and part of it was smart city, that we want smart city. That was out on the internet. So they contacted us saying, you guys are looking to be smart city? Yeah, well, here's what we're having to offer. They came in, and I don't have the exact, I think it was about 3 months, and we had the contract signed. And we're talking a $100 million project. This is not a small project. So the cooperation has just been unbelievable, really. Yeah.
I'm sure, being the first in the state, that more cities after this will start contacting.
I've heard they're talking to over a dozen cities in Wisconsin.
Great for the city. We thank you so much for your participation in this project, and thanks so much for talking with us. Okay, here we are at the Fiber City event, and I'm with your name.
Marcus Bowman.
And Marcus, what's your role in Fiber City?
I'm the Community Relations Manager for SiFi Networks.
Okay. So let's talk about SiFi Networks. What is SiFi Networks?
SiFi Networks is a fiber optic company that we propose doing fiber cities throughout the country, laying an open fiber optic network and really building out cities to provide a better service and product.
Where is SiFi Networks based out of?
Well, we are have offices on the East Coast in New Jersey, and I believe in the West Coast as well. Yeah.
So Kenosha is one of the first ones in the state that's going to be getting this. Why selected Kenosha?
That's a great question, and to be honest, I wasn't part of the again the planning and onboarding for the city of Kenosha, but according to our criteria, it met all the points that make this a great starting point. So yeah.
As far as demonstration of how it's going to be cut, how does that work when you come in and lay the fiber in the city?
Okay, so I looked at there's two different ways to do it. There's either trenching in the street or trenching in what they consider the green space being like the grass and the right-of-way area. So the majority of Kenosha looks like it's going to be green space trenching, which means they're going to bring a trencher on the area between the sidewalk and the curb, trench there, which is going to excavate and bring out the dirt. Once that dirt is removed, they'll lay in the conduit that the fiber is going to go into, lay those within within that particular trench, cover it back up again with the dirt, put some seed, I believe erosion matting, and some straw, and let that grass grow back in. And then once that's in place, fiber gets blown later to different connection points. And like I kind of stated in the a groundbreaking, once that trench is done and an open fiber optic line is laid, we don't have to go back in and do another cut.
If the first one in the state, there's obviously other cities in the state that has this fiber.
Correct. Yeah.
And what's the reaction?
Good. I mean, good. I mean, the look on my face is because of the different areas that I work in. So the community, of course, one of their major concerns really comes down to information. What do we know? How fast do we know it? And do we understand it? So for the most part, once the project is done and finished, everyone loves it, right? They have a faster, more efficient product. They have choice. They have equity. There are the annoyances in the beginning where you have to deal with the trenching, a little bit of the noise, a little bit of the construction coming through the neighborhood, which is the inconvenience. But you allow that to play out for a few days, a week or so, let it get out of the area. And then once it all disappears and that grass has grown back and no one can tell that the work has taken place, the only thing that people are left with is a faster, more efficient internet in front of their house.
If people want more information about SiFi Networks, the website?
KenoshaFiberCity.com.
Well, thank you so much. This is absolutely exciting for Kenosha, and thank you so much.
I believe it's exciting for us as well. Thank you so much.